Hello guys, good morning. Today is Monday, June 20th. I'm going to be going over a couple of trades that I took today and how I took them. And today it was a little bit difficult for me to actually choose a bias because we didn't really have a clear bias basically, because we could have thought that we were bullish as we could have thought that we were bearish. And I ended up choosing on the bearish side, as you'll see why in a couple of minutes. And ended up working out well for me, as I took 2 take profits early in the morning along with 2 losses. And well, currently, as you can see, I'm within that trade, which is for now working quite well. But yeah, we'll get first on the 15 minutes. And let me open Epic Pen so I can do this a little bit cleaner. And do keep in mind that today we didn't have New York. As far as I understand, when there's a bank holiday, the session doesn't work as it should, or usually should. So just wanted to mention that. New York opened on this candle, if I remember correctly. This is the midnight open, although it's something a bit less thick than that. And okay, so New York opens up here, starts to basically just ranges, trades higher, trades lower, and then aggressively trades higher. So this is what I wake up to around 6:30, and we have a fair value gap, bullish fair value gap, that we could have thought of it being a bullish opportunity, right? Mostly again due to the fact that, well, we had this major impulse to the upside. But actually, what I ended up thinking of is that this could be considered super liquidity. And now we go back to the left, we can see how a major high was taken here. And if I remember correctly, this, yeah, had a little bit of a high back to the left, right? And again, we have this BSL being taken on this high. So that made me think that they could be bullish, could be bearish, sorry. But we did have some good confluences that could tell us that price could be bearish, bullish, sorry, I'm confusing it. So I was a little bit confused. I was a little bit, I just wasn't sure what to say the day was likely going to be. But I ended up choosing on the bearish side, right after I took a loss on the buy side, basically. Because if we go to the 5, we had that we were mitigating that 15-minute fair value gap. Liquidity was swept, which, as you can see, it's equal lows. Then aggressively starts pushing higher, causing a market shift. We have a fair value gap in the 5-minute, and going down to the 1-minute, that's when we get this here. This could have been the first entry. It's actually something that I was not able to do. But then we had this tiny bit of a thing, which price trades into. Oh, sorry, this is actually the 5-minute bullish move that we're seeing. So this is the 5-minute fair value gap approximately. Trades into that, fair value gap in that, traded it, stop loss below, and as you can see, that's when I realized that we also had that 5-minute fair value gap. We had potentially a buy side liquidity being taken and still respecting that order block back there. And then aggression to the downside, which generates fair value gaps, which are respected, aggression to the downside, and as you can see, we have that fair value gap right here, right, along with the market shift on this low and the aggression, obviously. Show the executions. This is the long, right? Yeah, I took 2. I think because of the risk, I think I was risking less than supposed. Yes, I kind of want to say that, but I'm not entirely sure. So here's where I sold. Did it sell down there? No, this is the loss probably. Yeah, for 450,000, you see 300 and 150. Sold or bought, so whatever you want to call it, 450 here. This is where I closed the losses. And this is my first sell, which was basically when price pushed aggressively into this. As you can see, it's 1,221,000 at 5,274, which is a little bit higher than this arrow right? So it starts pushing lower from there, and I closed some partials here. I sold like in here because we had a tiny bit of a fair value gap. I'm just following the trend. Continues lower, no fair value gap to trade, and then this is where I closed everything else. Right, so I closed a tiny bit of a portion here, 278,000, and then closed the rest million here, which, being fully honest, we could have held back to this, but I wasn't very confident on that low being taken that quick per se, right? So it is what it is. Now, what happens later is that we had a 5-minute fair value gap, which price trades into. We see aggression to the downside, fair value gap, potential opportunity, stop loss has to be all the way up here, trades higher, respects the high, aggression, fair value gap, another entry taken here, so you can see going for this fair value gap down there, and this one was taken right here. I think, why was it taken down there? So probably traded higher, lower, executed, and then higher again. Can't really say for sure, but basically mitigates this fair value gap that you see here. I have this one. We actually don't really have any other one to trade, at least on this move. Then we get this tiny bit one, which I do take advantage of as well on this candle. Stop loss in this case should have been up here, and then aggressively pushes lower. And what I didn't realize again is this: I didn't have this line, and when I saw it retracing aggressively, that's where I realized that we kind of do have something that could happen from this low being taken. So I said, well, when I realized that we were around these 2 candles approximately, it was like I could close half positions to not really take a loss or anything like that. But yeah, ended up not doing much actually. Also, as this was being respected, aggression here, fair value gap respected, fair value gap here, I decided to trade this with a tiny bit of a position. So you can see it's just 100,000. It's respected for a bit, but then completely fails, and I'm taking out of all of the positions on this one. Talking about 836,000, right? So if we check here, talking about yeah, there's 2 losses. There's 2. 1152. No, that has to be higher. 1152 up here. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that one. Oh yeah, completely forgot about this one. So price was pushing higher. We are already outside of 10 a.m. So as an example here, let's suppose I took a 5% on this one, I remember. And then around a 2% loss on this entire price action. So I was up by 3%. 10 a.m. goes by, so I'm not going to be trading after that. But as I'm trading with paper trading today, due to the fact that we have the bank holiday on the US, I just decided to continue to trade. And well, as you can see, we had that retracement that we usually see. Price breaks the high, aggression to the downside, and that's when I decided to take this, which as you can see is respected for a bit, then took this execution on this, and as you can see, it just completely fails by going aggressively up here, right? What is that we get later? Well, in this case, we actually got something a little bit different, because we have swept a lot of liquidity, clearly. We can say that we have this major highs being taken. Let's just aim it at this. Major highs being taken, and then aggression to the downside. We have a fair value gap in the 2-minute, but I wanted to see a 5-minute to create a fair value gap, which it does. Creates a fair value gap, and then I went down to the 1-minute. As it was pushing so aggressively to the downside, I realized that well, the 2-minute and the 3-minute had created fair value gaps. So this is the first entry, which is the 3 minutes POI, right? This which begins at this level. Then we have this 2, which, as you can see, this one is here due to the 2-minute fair value gap, and this one is here due to this 1-minute fair value gap, which are respected for a bit. Then we see this, another fair value gap, another execution, and all of their stop losses were up here, right? Reason why is because I've seen price respecting a 5-minute fair value gap, but sometimes not respecting the things that happen in the lower time frames, right? So as an example, we could have taken this and this being respected, but if we're taking it based on the 5-minute fair value gap, the 5-minute is likely to be respected more than the lower time frame one. Doesn't mean that it will always be disrespected, but well, yeah, it is what it is. So in this case, it worked out quite well. Here we see aggression, another potential entry. Stop loss, if I remember correctly, I wanted to place it up here, but as it would risk all of the positions, I said I'm going to put it up there. So overall in this entire price action, I was risking approximately 3.5, maybe 4% overall. So basically, if I took a loss, I would end up in break even for today, or maybe with an extra 1%. But then as you can see, price continue to go lower, took some partials here, and now continues. And my target, if I remember correctly, well, I can see that in the 1 minute chart. Let's take this out. In the 1 minute chart, I actually don't have a target the way. Oh yeah, we're going below this low basically, which is the target's actually a lot more than it should. But I had 1,500,000 approximately, and now we just have 500, right? Because this was the first target, and due to the price being somewhat rangy through the entire day, right? We have these highs here, we have these lows here. I wasn't really feeling like risking it, and I'm actually kind of hoping to see something through the PM session, right? Retracement to maybe the 15 BOI fair value gap that we will create in a couple of minutes, or something a bit higher to the 5 minutes fair value gaps, which could be interesting. But again, just trying to determine the bias mostly with liquidity, as you were able to see, because today it was mostly based on buy side liquidity being taken and then aggression against that move. And yeah, just kind of going for that, to be fully honest. That was today's trading. A little bit messy, not gonna lie. It could have been better with this trade. I made a mistake by not realizing that we had that level, and well, just completely went against me after that, which could have been a target quite easily. But well, it is what it is. But it worked out wonderfully after all. And yeah, that's pretty much all that I wanted to show. Honestly, again, ICT concepts that you can find on his YouTube. Quite simple overall, right? And we're gonna be lower in the stop loss on this. I'm not interested in taking 2% loss on a trade I've already taken profits off of. But okay. So yeah, that's really pretty much all that I wanted to mention. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you took something away from it. I've been seeing you on to the next one.